Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill Edgerton, and I have collected mechanical musical instruments for 50 years or more. I've been interested in these for many, many years. I have bought them, I have sold them. I actually was a dealer for 8 years in Connecticut, and they are a good part of my life. I want to share them with you today. I am particularly fussy about several things. One is that the pianos are in tune. Another is that the organs are playing correctly and are in tune, and that the musical selections are appropriate for the instrument they're being played on. As is the case with all mechanical music, every instrument is a musical instrument, but it also has a program. And it is unlike a recording in that regard, in that it is the real instrument that is being played, not a recording of an instrument. So I hope you enjoy yourself, but I think you will find some very interesting selections and instruments here to enjoy. Thanks for viewing it. In 1966, Westinghouse made washers and dryers. And in 1966, their dryer had a little mechanism in the device. And when the clothes were dry, this is what you heard instead of the standard buzzer that you hear these days. How dry I am. In the 1970s, Harvey Rail, a man in Vestal, New York, who was very interested in mechanical music and published a number of books about those instruments, discovered one of these and wrote an article about it. I took this one, out of a dryer in New Canaan, Connecticut. But these days, although you might want to try to find one, they've all gone to the dump because the dryers are not any longer in use. This cylinder music box was made in Switzerland, as were most of them, about 1865. And this is a particularly fine one with a very well arranged music piece. Which is the end of the third act from Verdi's opera Don Carlos. One of the criticisms of the cylinder music box was that the program was limited. You were only able to hear a single revolution at a time, or in some instances, two tunes per revolution. But there was a criticism that you couldn't hear more, or you couldn't get new music for your cylinder music box. So an enterprising German in the late 1800s invented a disc-playing music box that also played on a tuned steel comb. But in this particular case, you could get as many discs as you could afford for the program material. Italy has a long, long history of music, but interestingly enough, not very many mechanical instruments originated in Italy. One of them that is quite interesting and relatively scarce, is the piano melodico, made in three different sizes. This is the middle size, and is a piano, a strung piano inside, with a set of reiterating hammers. And as the whole appears in the music, that particular hammer is allowed to hit the string. As one is cranking, the music is moved past the keys, and a lever here brings the hammers closer to the strings or further from the strings. Or the further they get, the louder the music is. So you have some control. Inside the instrument, here are the keys, and because all of the keys are up, it is as though all notes are playing together. And when they're down, only the ones which come up play. The intention was to make an instrument that sounded like a mandolin being played, or a series of mandolins, or a mandolin band where you've got more than one note playing at one time. A lot of classical music was available for these, but one of the nicest books that I found was Tunes from the Merry Widow of Lehar, which was originally offered to the public in 1906. Here we go. This instrument is a street piano built in Great Britain in about the 1860s. These were very popular, to be taken out on the street and played, and a monkey or a child would be passing a cup to get any coins that the listeners would contribute. This plays 10 tunes. This instrument is a piano, small piano, that plays cardboard discs. It was made in approximately the 1900 by the Ehrlich firm in Germany. It is one of the few examples of mechanical music where the software, in this case the cardboard disc, plays on two different kinds of instruments. Ehrlich also made a reed organ or organette that plays the same music. It's one of the few instances where that occurs. These instruments are difficult to keep in tune and were fairly crudely made, so they don't sound as good as some of their competition, but as a result they are fairly scarce. The selection I'll play is Achte Lieber Augustin, a famous German drinking song. It's played plainly initially, and then all the bells and whistles come out for the second iteration. In the 1920s, there were hundreds of thousands of player pianos built. Earlier than that, from about 1905 to about 1910, the first player piano playing rolls that was in wide circulation was the 65-note player piano. This is a Weber 65-note player piano in an unusual case that I thought originally was custom built, but found an advertisement for it in a magazine that showed that it was an actual production item. The advantage to the 65-note rolls, because it was the first time really that the average person could play such a piano, is that they overdid it in the music department, as you'll see. Here's a part of a selection called Il Bacio, or the Kiss, a waltz. good exercise. This is a Nickelodeon. It operates on a nickel. Nickelodeons were very popular from about 1910 to in the middle of 1920s, at which point the RCA Victor 78 record outdid them. Seeburg, a Chicago firm, made many different styles, and in the 1970s I heard a model KT Special, which this is, and wanted one, but was not prepared to pay the price that they were going for. So I bought an original, took it completely apart, restored it, but made engineering drawings and built 60 replicas of the Seeburg KT Special. I had arranged a license agreement with Seeburg to pay them a fee for each one we built, but the process took so long, namely 6 years, that by that point Seeburg not only had gone bankrupt, but there was nobody around to pay, so we never paid the license fee. The instrument has 10 individual instruments in it and was very popular then and is now, because in a small case you get a lot of different instruments and therefore a lot of different music. Here's a lively tune that you would have heard in the teens or 20s, and now you hear it again in the turn of the next century. Most people who are viewing this video will know what a reproducing piano is. Actually, a piano that is interpreting the music exactly the way it's being performed by the player, with tempo and dynamics and pedaling and everything done pneumatically. However, this particular piece is not well known. It is called the Apache Dance. It is a piece of music that was written by Jacques Offenbach after the middle of the 1800s to be used in some way as a waltz and a dance. And the music is lovely, but is little known, so I thought it would be appropriate to play it today. Although most street organs are organs with pipes in them, there were a few made that use reeds, including this one I'm leaning on, made by Gavioli in Paris in who knows when, sometime probably around the turn of the century. Because there were a lot of accordions in France at that time, there were a lot of reeds made for the accordions, and those reeds were used by Gavioli in putting together a street organ that played reeds rather than pipes. It plays from a pinned barrel, plays 8 tunes, and it has a big sound. This is a larger street organ of the more traditional type with pipes in it. It was built by Gavioli in the 1860s. We can tell that from the address which appears on the organ. There's also serial number 3, so it may be the 3rd iteration of this particular style of organ made by Gavioli, and it's probably very early. It may be one of the earliest Gavioli organs known. There are a couple of pipes that are not quite right, but it has a kind of interesting sound that is sort of pianoforte. The piano pipes are the wooden pipes underneath, and the forte pipes are the bamboo pipes across the front. This is a 56-key Limonaire street organ that probably started its life as a German barrel organ in the 1880s or thereabouts, and after the century change went to Limonaire in Paris to be converted to book music. It has a checkered history. It traveled the world. One of the owners took it from Holland to Australia, didn't like Australia and brought it back. He bought a barge to move package traffic in Holland, put the organ on the barge sprung a leak, the organ was in 3 feet of water, and in the 1930s we know the firm who did repair the bellows. It was used a lot and was in very bad condition, and Andrew Pilmer and Russell Wadham in England redid the organ inside, and Rosa Patton in North Carolina repainted it. Looks a little different now than it did a few years ago. This organ is a 43-key Bruder built in 1929 in Germany, and it was shipped at that time to its first owner in Stone Mountain, Georgia, in this country, and spent its entire life on a carousel there. In the 1980s, Durwood Center, a noted restorer in America, bought the organ, restored it, and had it as his own organ, but when he bought a larger one, he made it available and I acquired it. This will play a famous march called Old Comrades. we have a decap Belgian dance organ. These organs were used in bars and taverns and dance halls where people could eat and drink and also dance. And this was the music for the dancing. These organs were very popular in Holland and Belgium, less so, but many went to Germany and some went to England and to other countries as well. The company Decap is still in business. It's making electronic organs these days. This one is all pneumatic. Everything is operated by air, all the instruments. The accordions are real accordions, which are played mechanically. The saxophones are not real saxophones because there was no way they could get saxophones with reeds to work correctly. But in each case, when the saxophones are playing, there are pipes behind them that are voiced to sound like saxophones, and those pipes are playing. And they have worked out a way with little pneumatics to make the keys operate on the saxophone when they're supposed to play. The red blocks up on the top are called temple blocks, and you'll hear them frequently in the music. We've got a boogie woogie medley to play for you. Here we have an 89 key Pleur street organ built in the 1970s in Holland, in the town of Bussum, Holland. Pleur's business is still there, that for 20 years was operated out on the streets of Holland and then went into the hands of Jack Hardman, an American collector, for another 20 years. We acquired it last year. It is a lovely contemporary street organ, and the tune that I've got queued up is Schwarzwald Madel, which is Black Forest Woman, which is a waltz from a operetta written by a German composer named Jessel. This is an 89 key Gavioli organ, and the tune that we've got queued up for you is the Florentine March by Czech composer Julius Fusik that he wrote in 1908. The organ was in distressed condition when I got it 20 years ago. The paint was peeling. It had been stored in England outside under a canvas tarpaulin that had disintegrated. Things were missing, pipes had fallen away. It was in really bad condition. I worked on it for a while and decided if I wanted to hear it in my lifetime, I'd better send it somewhere. So I sent it to the north of England to Andrew Pilmer and Russell Wadham, who had in their workshop an identical organ from Gavioli, 4 serial numbers different from this one. And that meant that this one and that one were in the factory at the same time, and that one was in particularly good condition. So Pilmer and Wadham were able to copy what they had to copy, but more importantly, they have voiced the pipes to sound like they did originally. I think it came out better than it probably was originally. Here we go. This instrument is a orchestrion built by a German immigrant, Bernhard Duffner, in Buffalo in the 1870s. It may be one of the first American orchestrions. There are 9 barrels. I bought this from a used car dealer in Albany, New York in the early 1980s, and it has had a full restoration, and it is a true museum piece, and will be going before too long to the Morris Museum in Morristown, New Jersey, which is the recipient of the Guinness collection of mechanical musical instruments. The barrel is spirally pinned. It revolves 7 times, and we've got a bunch of waltzes in this barrel. The weight is about 450 pounds, and it has to go about 11 feet up in the air. The wire that has hoisted the weight unwinds and the weight comes down in order that the instrument can be played. That's the end of our program today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the last hour of instruments in the Edgerton collection. It's been a lot of pleasure for me to play them for you and to talk about them. I can be reached at wedgerton@AOL.com with any questions. Appreciate your being with us today. Thank you.